Welcome to our series called Tradition or Trend. This is where you may need to decide if you're going to follow the trends or are you going to follow the advice of maybe your parents or older generation and do what people have done traditionally. We're going to jump into various topics, and in the end, you're going to decide what's right for you. I'm not going to tell you what you need to choose, but I do want to tell you the outcomes and what you can expect when you choose each of the items. So let's jump in. Today we're going to talk about the traditional cake versus cupcakes. So you've heard about this for years. Cupcakes, if you haven't been doing this wedding planning very long, or if you haven't helped other people, I'll tell you for a while now, people have been doing cupcakes. And I want to tell you where this came from. Why did that become so popular? Because when you're making your decision, you're trying to decide, what do people think is normal and what should I do? What's best for me? And so I want to tell you why cupcakes became popular choice in the first place. So years ago, and in some cases it still happens, where the caterer or the venue will charge to cut the cake and serve the cake. So, you know, people being clever and trying to get around things the way that they do, a lot of people came up with, well, maybe I'll do cupcakes because then there's no service charge on that. And that's really how the trend became popular. So in this, we're going to talk about, is this going to be the right choice for you? So the first question you need to ask yourself is why? Why would you want either a cake or why do you want cupcakes? And we're going to base your decision on the answer to that. Why do you want it? So now let's dive into it a little bit and talk a little bit about it. So first, you may be thinking cost. Why are you going to choose a cake versus cupcakes? Is it because of the price? Well, traditional cake can vary anywhere from $3 a slice up to $9 a slice, and I've seen it actually even higher than that. So what makes the difference in price is really the baker, and sometimes it's the ingredients that go in it or the labor-intensive decorating, and honestly, every baker is so different. Some don't charge an additional price for really intricate details in the decorating, and some do. So you're going to have to do your research in this area, but you're going to have to ask yourself, why would I want a traditional cake? Is it because I think it's so beautiful? Is it because mom wants me to have it? Does it really make a difference to you? Is price going to be significant? Okay, so now let's talk about cupcakes as far as price goes. You can get them anywhere from a big box store for 50 cents a piece, and I've seen them up to $8, but I think an average price is somewhere around $3.50, $4.50. So now, per guest, if your cake is going to cost the same as a cupcake, now you're even Stevens on that. So there's not going to be a tiebreaker there. You're going to have to try to figure out what's the real reason other than just the price. Or if it's price, you can see that 50 cents for a cupcake at a big box store, you just can't beat that price. So let's talk about the next topic. So when we talked about why this tradition changed and became a trend to cupcakes, it really was because the caterer and venue were charging to serve the cake, and I think some people thought that wasn't fair. But I want to give you a little background on that, because they call it a cake cutting charge. So a lot of people are thinking, gosh, I have to pay you $1, $2, $2.50, whatever, to cut the cake. They don't think that's really fair. But I want to stand up for the venue and the caterer for a minute. I want to tell you, first of all, it actually takes skill. You don't just cut the cake in little slices. There is a certain way to cut it and to make sure that there's enough there for each guest. Well, that's one thing. The second thing is they have to pay a person per hour to do it, and then they have to pay several people to serve the cake. They also have to pay for the dish that it's served on and extra napkins and the fork, and somebody has to wash all that. So I do want to stand up for them a little bit there and say, you know, as a business owner, there are costs involved. And when there's costs involved in something, it's only fair that you pay that price. Now, if you're saying, I don't have it in my budget, or you still just don't think it's fair for whatever reason, okay, now maybe you can serve cupcakes because there's not going to be traditionally a charge to serve that, because hopefully the cupcake comes in that little paper wrapper and people can just go up and pick it up themselves. So that's another thing that you want to think about. So Here's another thing you might want to think about. We're going back to your why. Why are you choosing cupcakes over traditional cake? And it may be that you want to serve different flavor options. Well, when you have a traditional cake, you only have so many layers to the cake, and guess what? You really can only have one set of flavors in each tier. So if you wanted to have a wide variety of flavors, then you're going to want to have cupcakes, because now you can have maybe a dozen of each flavor and you have a great big variety. So I know I may not have helped you so far, so let's move on to the next one. It may be just that you like the way that a traditional cake looks, and that's okay. You like the way it looks, it can be beautiful. In the corner you have this big tall tiered cake. But I want to tell you something. I think that cupcakes look pretty nice too. You can have a big long table set out with cupcakes on different plates and different stands, and that can look really pretty too. And when we have cupcakes at a wedding, a lot of times we just have a small 1 or 2 tiered cake that the bride and groom will cut. So did I help you at all figure out if you're gonna go traditional or go with the trend? Well, I may not have helped you make a decision, but I hope that I helped you in trying to figure out how to process and get to a decision. Well, I hope this did help you, and I wish you all happy wedding planning.